The Comic Stew.
And welcome to episode 1 of The Comic Stew. My name's Aaron. I am one of your hosts for this glorious show. And with me is my permanent other host, JC Artensinger. What up, JC?
What up? Can't even pronounce my name right. I'm the other host. You know, I don't know if this is gonna work.
Wait a minute. Artensinger?
Argetsinger.
The G. Oh, God. I don't think, but to be fair to me, I don't think I've ever heard your name pronounced right, so.
I mean, I've said it to you multiple times, but, you know.
No, I feel like you've never said your name to me. Like, my name is JC Argensinger. Did I say that right?
Argetsinger.
Argetsinger, whatever. Anyways, I'm Aaron Brewer. I used to do a little podcast called The Meltcast. That was version 1.0. And I've been away from the podcasting game for quite a while. But I think our last episode was sometime in 2011. But I'm back. I wanted to do a weekly show. I've got a good buddy here that likes to talk comics, and we're gonna try to do this. We're gonna put out some stuff and talk about some goings on and some books, and hopefully have a good time. And hopefully you all enjoy it. JC,
we hope to move you. We hope to make you laugh, cry.
Yeah, all the range of emotions. Before we get started, I just want to say that in honor of the Comic Stew, which is what we're calling this very show, I made a pot of stew. I think I told you a couple days ago that I cooked a turkey, right?
You did rub that in my face a little bit.
Yes, I did. JC was salty because we went to a party last week that was doing the early Thanksgiving motif, and there was turkey there at one time, but somebody had to show up late, so somebody didn't get no turkey.
Well, somebody was supposed to tell me when they were leaving, and I would leave, and then somebody didn't tell me that they left. I just found out that they were already there.
Okay. You knew what time... No, hold on. You knew what time the party started, and in my defense, I was extremely busy. I had gone shopping, and I was making cranberry sauce. And I was getting pressured from other people at the party to bring over said cranberry sauce. So it was a little difficult for me to get over. Like to remember to call you. You should have just known. That's all. Mm-hmm. How dare you berate me? Anyways, JC didn't get any turkey, and I got a turkey the other day and just mentioned it to him, and he got really upset by that. So sorry.
It wasn't so much that you got another turkey and mentioned it to me. You mentioned repeatedly how you made a turkey and we're going to be feasting on this turkey by yourself. And,
yes.
You know, kind of just rubbed it in my face.
And I am feasting on it.
You were having turkey twice in the time that I had no turkey.
It's so crazy, all the stuff you can make with turkey. It really is. Like, it's awesome just having a vast quantity of turkey. But I made turkey, I guess you could kind of call it turkey stew. It didn't really come out. It's more of a soup because it's not really thick enough. Like, it doesn't really have the consistency quite enough of stew. But for the purposes of this podcast, I'll just refer to it as a stew. Turkey, vegetable, like kind of rice, got some rice in there, veggies, you know, all the good stuff. All the stuff that makes it good.
So you're telling me that it just wasn't thick enough?
Not quite. All right, this show is getting the explicit tag, by the way. Just warning everyone. And I'm just doing it just so I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about thinking about putting the explicit tag on, because I know the stuff that's coming out of your mouth is going to be very explicit at times.
Most times.
Anyways, so I just wanted to start off with that, but also just say it is extremely nice to be talking with somebody who likes comics and wants to read them on a weekly basis. And I just have one question for you to start off, JC.
Oh, what's that?
Well, the one question is, why the hell were you so late to this podcast? We were supposed to record at 11, and it's now 1:30 in the morning. We're recording this.
Well, we're not like it's not live, so they don't know. It's not like the
Yeah, but I'm telling them because I do need to warn people why this is going to be maybe a little bit of a disjointed mess. And my brain, my fatigue-addled brain may not be working so well tonight. So I do need to explain why this is the case.
I mean, what is going to be your excuse during the other episodes, though?
Shut up.
I may have been getting a person arrested at my work.
Okay. That's all you got to say. All right.
Yeah.
Somebody was acting up, and you had to put the hammer down.
Sometimes you got to regulate.
Yeah. Well, never let that happen again, JC. I just want to say on behalf of all the listeners and mostly myself, how dare you? But anyways, I guess we better get to it since it is 1:30 in the morning. So here's my second question, since I started off pretty strong with the first. And it is so late, and I know you got to be sipping on something. So what would that be?
What are you sipping on?
I'm sipping on coffee because it's 1:30 in the morning, and I'm kind of trying to stay lucid for the most part.
Well, I'm sipping on some Sam Adams Harvest Pumpkin Ale. Sam Adams, if you'd like to sponsor us, we're open to sponsorship.
Oh, you would love that. You would just love to have Sammy sponsor us. This guy drinks nothing but Sam Adams, I swear.
He drinks nothing but Bullet Rye, so Bullet Whiskey. If you guys want to send us some whiskey?
Touche.
Even if you guys don't want to sponsor us, and you guys just want to send us
it would be great to get Bullet to sponsor this show.
We would not be opposed to you guys sending us booze, and we will drink it on the air. That would
be pretty awesome.
We will drink it on the air. If you're not one of these companies and you want to send us booze, we'll drink it on the air.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I may just take a little break that I'll edit out, of course, for you, to your listeners. But I may have to grab a little something here later. Screw it, I'll grab it now. And 3, 2, and we're back. Guess what I got in my hand now?
Is it a dildo?
All right, I'm cutting that out. All right, we're back, and I do have my drink. I you know what? It is late, but screw it. We got to start this show off right. Right, JC?
I would agree with that.
Cool. We got our drinks. I'm going to ask you every week what you're drinking, and you're probably going to tell me some variation of the same thing, and I'll probably have about the same exact thing every week. Well, actually, I'm going to mix it up.
Are you going to mix it up?
Yeah, I'm going to mix it up a little bit, but I'm only going to mix it up with non-alcoholic drinks.
Like water?
Well, there's flavors of water. You can get different flavors of water. All right, I'm totally cutting all this out.
Fish fucking it.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Well, so we kind of had a grand plan coming into this. We wanted to launch the podcast around the time that a little show was going to be dropping on Netflix, and I think we both know what show that is. JC's favorite girl, Jessica Jones, just came out last Friday.
Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
I'm kind of woman.
So definitely wanted to talk about that, and in hand in hand with that, we had talked about this a little bit on a test podcast we did, which may be released in the future sometime as a lost episode. But we were talking about some of our what do we call it? Our Hall of Shame, the books our libraries of shame, that the books we haven't read that kind of are super popular and you kind of need to have read, and we hadn't read a lot of them.
Those are mainly books that you haven't read that you're supposed to have read.
Right.
Just to clarify for the audience.
Yeah. Well, anyways, so I had never read Alias, and I had purchased it a while ago, and so the goal was for us to have read Alias, or me read it, JC reread it. So, anyways, I wanted to read Alias, of course, and I'd purchased it a while ago, and figured it'd be a good time to read it for the start of this, and be watching the show around the same time. Of course, with the craziness and the busyness of life, I only managed to I got 11 issues in, I think. And I'm currently 4 episodes into the show.
Well, you're ahead of me and behind me and ahead of me.
Ahead of you in all other things.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't say that. I have read the series to completion when it came out,
Right.
from issue 1, day 1. I have started rereading it. I'm only 6 issues in to my reread, and only 2 episodes into the show.
Gotcha.
So you're ahead of me. You're reading the comic right now, but behind me because I've read the whole series.
Right. So I'm like 11 issues in. I had actually just finished. I finished reading the issue. There's an issue where J. Jonah Jameson hires Jessica to basically to ascertain the identity of Spider-Man, and she uses. It's a great issue. Do you remember that issue I speak of?
I do.
Yeah. So I'm up there, and I'm kind of wondering because obviously it's no secret that the Purple Man is the villain of the TV show, and I'm kind of curious because he seems to be pretty prominent in the show, obviously so far,
Right.
from what I've seen. Um, but the book, like 11 issues in, there's been no mention of him yet.
Right. So this is one of my biggest complaints about the show versus the book is it was a lot more of a slow burn into Purple Man. You see a lot more of who Jessica is, what she's going through, different stories. In the show, I guess it needs to be more centric to a villain. I don't know if it needs to be, but
Well, it does. I mean, it does. I find like through the first 4 episodes, I mean, I really found that through line of having the Purple Man kind of lurking in the background, and he's driving the plot. I mean, there's other stories happening. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's through the 4 episodes, like, some episodes definitely focus just on the Purple Man, or just on her trying to find out about him, follow him,
right,
do these things. But there's episodes that don't they're kind of tangential to that, and she's all the while following this thread of trying to find him, but she's
right.
running into these other things, and um,
Well, let's talk about for a second the early similarities, which would be obviously the first scene of the show is this first scene of the comic, which is pretty cool. It's pretty much the same exact scene. Slightly changed, but very similar. Then it goes off quite a bit, and
wait. What scene are you talking about?
the very first part of the comic and the first scene of the show, which is the guy
Oh,
getting
yeah.
to go for office.
Yeah, both of those happened in the first issue. The guy coming into her office and her
Right.
kicking his ass, throwing him through the window, and oh
Um,
yeah, actually it is the first scene. I forgot about that. Yeah, it
yeah,
is literally the first scene of the comic.
it's so pretty cool that like they had that reference in there. Then I guess because this is the Netflix universe of Marvel Cinematic Universe or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I was really hoping for some Charlie Cox because there's a lot of Matt Murdock in Alias.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's showed up. He hasn't showed up yet through 11 issues, from what I've seen. But he does. He's referenced. He's referenced by Jonah in issue 11.
He gets her out of jail.
Oh yeah. Oh, the scene. Yeah. The scene. Right. Yeah, you're right. Jeez, I'm mixing these things up because like when I was thinking of that scene, for some reason I was thinking it was on the show, which it might be in the future, but I haven't seen that scene in the show yet.
Yeah, I mean she's getting interrogated by the cops in the comic, and
right. Yeah.
Matthew comes in and saves the day.
Right. Puts the hammer down. Yeah. That was a great scene too.
I didn't need to be hit over the head with crossover stuff, but I was hoping for a few drops of Matt Murdock, and from what I understand, there's zero Matt Murdock in the show.
Oh, don't say that. Really?
The only Daredevil crossover that I'm aware of is Rosario Dawson's character.
Oh, damn it. I really thought that was going to show. I thought he was going to show up. I was just waiting for it.
It feels a bit like Carrie-Anne Moss's character has replaced the Matt Murdock character.
Yeah, see, I was thinking because let's back up a minute. She plays what character? What's her first name? Something Hogarth. Jessica calls her Hogarth in the show. So
she's a lawyer.
She's she's a high-powered lawyer who hires Jessica from time to time, and actually a lot of her like missions to Jessica kind of send her on various adventures throughout the city. But I was actually thinking there's going to be some point in the show where Jessica clashes with her methods as a lawyer, and she would seek out another lawyer, and that would be Matt Murdock. But I guess I'm wrong because somebody had to spoil that for me because they just couldn't wait and watch the show. Mm-hmm. Thanks.
What?
Well, I was really thinking I was just gonna watch the show and see that, but you had to check that out. You had to know. You had to know if Matt was in the show.
Maybe he's in the show, but I don't think he's in the show. But interestingly, I have not seen these yet, but there is a Daredevil Twitter account that last week posted a short video of Luke Cage taking over Josie's in Hell's Kitchen, which is a famous bar from the comics, and it's cool that that's Josie's bar that he's apparently running in the show. And there's a short video on the Jessica Jones Twitter that's just at a bar, and she puts down a drink and gets a Nelson and Murdoch business card.
Oh, interesting, intriguing. Well, here's the thing. I don't want to talk too much about the show, like plot-wise, because we haven't seen it all. You've only seen 2 episodes. I've seen 4. I just want to say a few general things about the show. First of all, the tone is great. I really, really love that they nail that noir PI show tone through the cinematography. It's a very kind of shadowed, kind of gritty, dark show. But the music, the music is straight out of when you it's a PI show, it's totally a noir PI influenced thing, and it's great. I love it.
No, I think the tone is great for what the comic is tonally.
Yeah.
So, it's a very dark, very R-rated show. Even though it's not R-rated, I wouldn't have my kids watching this show.
No, definitely not.
Watching this comic, and I don't have any kids.
Well,
just to clarify.
Are you sure?
Well,
do you know that for a fact? Now, I mean, it's based on a book that you're definitely not going to give to kids. I mean, this was a Max book, and it's definitely a Max book.
It was the first Max book.
Just to get into the book really quick, I was definitely shocked. I was definitely shocked with the book, just because I had been coming from a world where I was the only Max titles that I was reading were Punisher Max, and those take place in a world that is not the Marvel Universe. Those take place in a world that it's basically our world with Frank Castle in it, and it's a very like realistic world. So jumping into Alias, I mean, it's the Marvel Universe, but there's just a lot of F-bombs and anal sex and other things happening.
It's implied anal sex. It's
Right.
It's not like you're seeing, anal breach.
It's anal sex. We all know that.
Right.
Anyways, though, but yeah, the language and everything, it's weird. Like it makes me feel like a little bit uncomfortable, because I'm just thinking, like, is this the Marvel Universe? Like you got to get used to it a little bit. Like, it's a little bit of a culture shock, but I definitely got into it, and I think so far it's a great book. But just to continue on the show, I wanted to say a few things just on the casting. I think the casting is a little bit hit or miss. I really like here's the thing. I haven't really seen enough of Kilgrave yet to really like base an opinion on David Tennant, and hold on. And no, I have not seen him in anything else, because I don't watch Doctor Who.
That's right, fans.
Just slap me down, JC. I'm talking to the world's biggest Doctor Who fan.
He also hasn't seen, apparently, the Harry Potter movies, in which David Tennant is in.
Oh, really?
He hasn't seen Bright Night.
What else?
Blanking on the name of the other show that he did.
I've seen the first two Harry Potter movies, and
you've only seen two Harry Potter movies?
Well, okay, I read all 7 books, and based on the direction that the books went in, I was not interested in watching the movies. That's a whole nother show. I don't want to get into that. I had some serious problems with where Harry Potter went as a series. But anyways, back to the show. I haven't seen enough of him to really base an opinion on him as an actor or anything. But I think just his presence in the show is really, really like highlighted and just really well done. Like, it's executed just beautifully. Even though, because you're just seeing the effects of the Purple Man, like you're seeing the carnage that he's causing, and that is just done really well. I think Luke Cage is cast really well.
I would agree.
I really like Mike Coulter. I mean, I haven't really seen him in anything else either, but I think he's like, I see him and I was like, yep, that's Luke Cage, for sure. He's awesome.
So what did you think with, for instance, when Luke and Jessica have their anal sex in the show?
I don't know if that actually happened in the show, but
I mean, she turned over.
Well, I think that was whatever. I don't.
Okay. Regardless, when they had their sex, versus when they had their sex in the comic, it was very much Luke knew she had been a superhero, and she knew Luke was Luke Cage, Power Man. Yeah, like it's quite a bit of a difference there.
Oh, it's a stark difference. I mean, yeah, Luke in the comic knows her like really well, and her whole monologue in her head is like how bad Luke's gonna feel about this, you know.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's gonna feel really bad about it, except for he won't, because he'll remember it's the one night she let him do anything.
He got to do whatever he wanted. Yeah. Yeah, but the show, like the show was, I mean, when they did it in the show the first time, I mean, that was just kind of them feeling each other out for the first time, and
Right. So it's a very different.
yeah,
Well,
definitely a different,
slightly different vibe.
whole different situation. I did want to say, speaking of the casting, I think overall the casting is really really good, and I just want to say this. I said uneven because I'm not 100% sold on Kristen Ritter as Jessica. And let me tell you why. I think she has the basic look down. Like Kristen Ritter is a adorable actress. I think she's super cute. I loved her in Breaking Bad. And I think for the most part she pulls off Jessica, but some of the I don't know. Sometimes her delivery, like for some reason, like sometimes her delivery just makes me think like, oh, this chick's acting. I get taken out of it a little bit with her delivery sometimes, but overall, I mean, overall, I like it. I'm not I'm not saying I want another actress, but
Well,
there are a little issues I'm having with sometimes like her delivery.
yeah. My gripe, I guess, is I heard her voice differently, which is
Uh-huh.
which is always the plight, I guess, of when you've read a book first and had it in your head for so long that
Right.
it doesn't necessarily sound the same as you expected to. But I think she's doing a good job from what I've seen so far. It seems
Yeah.
it's not the comic book.
Yeah. And
It seems like a very faithful attempt at adapting the comic book. It also makes me wonder the in-depthness on Purple Man makes me wonder if this is a one and done show, which I would be really sad about. I know the whole idea with the Netflix shows was they were going to be one season and then roll into their
Defenders.
crossover,
Yeah.
Defenders, which kind of got thrown for a loop when they said, "Oh, except for Daredevil's getting season 2 right away," because it's
Yeah.
chill.
Yeah, speaking of that, I wanted to talk about that a little bit, the whole state of the Netflix shows, because there was some rumors going on in the last couple weeks about Iron Fist actually being replaced by another show, and there was rumors going on about how Iron Fist would be replaced by the Punisher as getting his own show after he appears in season 2 of Daredevil, and basically what came out this week was Jeff Loeb kind of tried to debunk those rumors and said that Iron Fist is still plowing ahead as normal. And I mean the rumor specifically was that they really didn't know how to incorporate the mystical nature of the Iron Fist character into the kind of the tone that they've set with these shows so far on Netflix, because you have to think like Jessica is a super powered being, but she's like a very very grounded character. Like you hardly ever see her like quote unquote using her powers. Like it's a very like human grounded show, and I think we obviously saw that with Daredevil as well. And you have to think that Luke Cage is going to be the same thing. Like, the guy has unbreakable skin, he's bulletproof, blah blah blah. But I mean, that show is going to be a very human character driven show, and very very much in the vein of what we've seen so far. And I think Iron Fist has potential to really break the mold from what the other Netflix shows are doing. And so I don't know if like that rumor came out of something actually like that has substance, or someone's just like hypothesizing this, but that was the rumor going around.
So you don't think we're gonna see like Luke Cage with the open yellow shirt and chain around his belt and stuff like that, and
the tiara.
and the headband tiara. Yeah.
No, I like his look in the show. He's got the look from New Avengers.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't stuff like that doesn't bother me. I mean, just
Oh
like they,
no, I mean, dude, if they use the Iron Fist design from like the 70s with like the friggin' huge collar and stuff, like I'm gonna be livid because the David Aja design from a couple years ago on Immortal Iron Fist was so kick ass. Like I love that look. So they need to definitely use like that look for the show. And I don't know why they wouldn't, because like that's a look that translates to film and TV. Uh, the classic Iron Fist design does not.
yeah.
It would be funny. It would be funny if like they had some like nod in Luke Cage or Iron Fist, because I bet you if they do Iron Fist right, like they have to have Luke in there as well. Like Mike Coulter, he's going to be getting around, I think, because he plays a part in Jessica Jones, and you know that those two characters have a lot of history. He's also like best buds with Danny Rand, so you would just have to assume. I mean, they started the Heroes for Hire together. Like you'd have to assume that he's gonna show up in Iron Fist as well, like after his own show.
Well, right. I mean, you're assuming, and we're assuming that that there's going to be a bunch of Kristen Ritter and Luke Cage.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. We'll see where she ends up at the end of season 1.
Right. I mean, I think you're also. I'm just wondering where Matt Murdock is, because.
Oh, he's around. I mean, I just don't think, like, so far from what I've seen in the show, like the show is very like right now is very singular. I mean, it has a plot, and Jessica has not really like, she hasn't gotten to a point where like she's kind of like expanding where she's gonna touch these other corners of Hell's Kitchen yet. I think it definitely could be setting up to where it's gonna happen. So I just need to keep watching and get farther into the show, but I think it definitely could happen. That's why I'm like so bummed that you just broke my heart when you said Matt Murdock's not gonna be in that show.
I did discover that, unfortunately.
Yeah, you should have stayed off the internet, JC. How dare you?
It's a long time to stay off the internet.
Yeah.
But I guess to me it's an interesting break from the comic, which is very, very rooted in the Marvel universe.
Right.
And Steve Rogers makes a couple of appearances, like you said, J. Jonah Jameson,
Marvel Woman or Mrs. Marvel.
Miss Marvel has been
Carol
recast.
Danvers. She got basically replaced by Trish Walker,
right?
AKA Patsy Walker, AKA what?
AKA what?
What's Patsy Walker's name in the comics?
Patsy Walker?
Testing your knowledge here.
You mean Hellcat?
Yeah, there you go. All right, just checking. But yeah, there'll be definitely some more talk in the future episodes about Alias and Jessica. But we really just haven't watched enough yet to have a fully formed opinion, I think. Would you agree with that?
I have fully formed my opinion that the show is awesome.
Oh, I agree. I love the show. By the way,
fully formed my opinion that the book is awesome, and I'm gonna be that asshole who says the book is better. But I still love the show.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely different beasts. I mean they share a lot tonally. I don't know which one I like better. I mean, I need to, I think, experience both of them to completion, as they say.
That is what she said.
Anyways, so yeah, we'll be talking about more Alias and Jessica in future episodes.
Hey, I've got to pause you there for a second, Aaron.
Oh, what's that? Oh, number 2.
Number 2.
Yeah, my bottle is looking pretty sad. I've been nursing this one bottle for however many months, and it's almost gone. I'm gonna have to refresh the liquor cabinet here pretty soon.
I know this guy who bought a bottle of bullet bourbon for his friend. Come
Right,
on,
his friend that never comes over to hang out. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to name names.
I'm just gonna come over and steal it. I'm just gonna sneak in through the window, steal it.
Thing you would do.
Well, hey, while we're on TV, you wanna talk a little bit? Actually, here's the thing. So we're both caught up on Walking Dead. I wanted to chat with you about that, but I also wanted to issue a spoiler warning because I mean, there's probably a lot of people that aren't caught up or haven't read the comics or haven't seen all the TV show, and I feel like it's very disingenuous to like spoil things like that. Like, I really hate it when other podcasts do that. Bless you.
Hmm?
Did you just sneeze?
No.
Oh, I thought I heard you sneeze. Anyways, so yeah, I just want to issue a spoiler warning, and also I wanted to say that when we issue this spoiler warning, I'm going to try to put the time codes of when we're talking about something that could be spoiler-ish in the episode description. So be warned on that in the future. If you want to pause the podcast and check out the episode description, you can probably just skip ahead to where the time code tells you that it's okay to come back. Because, that really just annoys the hell out of me when I'm like a few episodes behind, and these, like, some podcasts will just go full on into the spoilers, and
does it really grind your gears?
It does. It bothers me.
On that note,
it really does. Yeah. So on that note, let's spoil some Walking Dead.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is your warning over.
Yeah, warning over. All right. So, okay, I watched the last episode tonight, and man,
Glenn lives.
Glenn lives. Okay. At first, when he quote unquote died, I did think he was dead. I just thought they were killing him in a different way, and that is a spoiler for the comics. But
he's dead in the comics.
I just thought they were killing him, and you knew that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew he dies eventually in the books. Yeah, issue 100. But so I thought, whoa, they just killed him in a different way, and like it was kind of, I mean, I actually thought it was kind of a fitting way for him to go because of that little mini, subplot that he had developed with that guy, and it was fitting in the Walking Dead TV show tradition or whatever. So like I kind of thought, I mean,
yeah, it wouldn't have been a bad death. It wouldn't have been a great death. It wouldn't have been like the most epic death, but like it was certainly could have been a fitting death.
Yeah.
I know some people who are going to gripe about his escape and that it was impossible for him to escape and all of that. And I can understand all of that.
Oh, yes. You can make that argument.
You can make that argument. But I can also see the plausibility of it. It's along the lines of when Tyrese survived with a hammer. It shouldn't have happened, but
yeah. Yeah, so some of the stuff in this show, you kind of just have to, like, you just have to go with it, It's exactly. Like, this is the story they're telling, and none of it has been, like, so egregious that it's like, there's no way that could happen.
Right.
Okay, like, I haven't really felt that way for the most part about the show. Like, the Tyrese thing, like, yeah, there was probably an extremely slim chance that would actually happen.
Right. Well, the Tyrese thing is the same in the comic where they're essentially thinking he's dead, and both, it's the same scene and different setting, but he lives because Tyrese, and that's
because he's a badass. Yeah, I love Tyrese. Oh, it killed me when he died too.
But Glenn is also a badass in his own way.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he survived. I think the show kind of needs that dynamic of him, Rick, and Daryl and Carol.
Yeah. Well,
Which are four, because they're the four who are from the beginning, who are still around. I mean, but they have these very different perspectives on the world.
well, yeah, and that's why I think Glenn's important, because he
Right.
brings a worldview that's different than Rick's.
Right.
And for all the stuff that Glenn has been through, he still maintains like that just essence of goodness throughout him. And that's kind of like, I mean, Rick still has a soul and a conscience, and he is kind of, he is a good guy, a quote unquote good guy, but he does these very like extreme things to keep his people safe in his mind. He's doing these things to keep them safe in his mind. But it is an interesting dichotomy between those characters. And if and when Glenn does eventually die, it's going to be definitely going to take a dimension out of that show that has been really it's been really fun to watch.
I agree. And you saw it also continue where he then didn't let the girl run off and die. He had to stick with her, and we'll see what happens in the mid-season finale after all hell broke loose at the end.
And can I just say too, like, I just love to see the relationship with him and Maggie, just the relationship of like two people that just really care about each other. They're married, but like you just really see how much they do care about each other. And it's so sometimes like that comes off as like kind of false, but with like those two actors, like I just believe it. Like I'm invested in their relationship and how much they care about each other.
I think it's interesting because it's a payoff that happened throughout the length of the years of the show going on, but also because they never really overdid it in the show.
Yeah.
It never became like a focus of the Glenn and Maggie romance. It was just part of the story.
Yeah.
Which made it work and made you believe it.
Yeah.
I also think I don't know if you remember, I think it was at the end of the season they were in Terminus, and Rick is saying, these people have no idea who they're messing with. And I have the same feeling about this little kid who's trying to go kill Carl. Because he has no idea who he's messing with.
Nah, dude. Carl don't mess around.
Coral is going to smoke that fool.
Oh, yeah. Carl don't mess around. Yeah, having read the comics, I'm not going to say anything because I know you're not caught up to that point. That whole thing could go in some very interesting places. That's all I'll say. But just speaking about the end of the episode real quick. I mean, wow, what a cliffhanger.
Yeah. A lot of shit going on.
I don't know what's going to happen, but just really quick, I do want to say I've really just enjoyed the whole plot of them coming to a place where it's kind of a utopia. It's kind of a paradise. It's the first time that like they've really kind of, I mean, you could say the prison was like that, but this is different because there's already people there, and I just really love that situation, and I feel like the storytelling and the plot just really got this richness that wasn't there before, because it just opened up a lot of options.
Right. It opened up a lot of options. And I think this season they've done a really great job of ramping up the action and tension while staying in this same camp. And the show has always been a move from one camp. You're in a camp, Exodus, another camp. Exodus, another camp.
Yeah.
it's this ongoing thing. Whereas this feels like, oh, I could keep watching this in this same camp for a long time, which they never really like. On the farm, you were like, "Can we get out of the farm?" In the prison, you're like, "Can we get out of the prison?" It never felt as interesting as when they were struggling.
Yeah, this situation just feels like it's compelling because this is such a place that's worth fighting for and worth holding on to.
Exactly.
That they're facing these outside threats that are really just like testing them and really testing the audience of it's testing how much you care about this situation they're in. And,
Right.
yeah, I think this season has been great. I mean, honestly, I thought last season, the last half of last season going into this season has just been fantastic.
Yeah. And there's some great acting, some great stuff going on. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. The mid-season finale is next week, so we can talk about that in our next episode.
Yep, that'll be pretty cool. So, all right, I think we can probably safely cut it off there for the spoilers.
Well, wait.
Oh, wait. Do you want to do one more spoiler?
This is a spoiler that's pretty widely out there. So,
okay.
If you're living under a rock, whatever, and you might be mad at me for this too, but they have released the teaser poster for the next season of Game of Thrones, and it seems like a bit of a spoiler.
Okay, that's not a spoiler because that was just widely disseminated to everyone.
Yeah, but it seems like a spoiler of a teaser.
Yeah, I'm not counting that as a spoiler. I'm writing down the time code before that. We can talk about this. I mean, here's the thing. If you're a fan of the books, us book readers actually don't know the fate of Jon Snow at this point, and neither do people on the show. So it's kind of interesting that they threw that in there because, like, I feel like they're almost like taunting the audience. It's like is he dead or is he coming back? And then, like,
well,
go ahead.
It's interesting, similarly to Walking Dead, where they kind of did that. Only it was two episodes instead of a whole season, but there was that tease of who died. Is he dead? Is he not going to be dead? Instead of the normal, he's dead.
Wait. At the end of Walking Dead?
Yeah, well, I mean, with the whole Len situation.
Oh. Yeah, though, yeah. Oh, I thought you said at the end of a season. I was like, what? Who died at the end of the season? Yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think about that, to be honest. Like, I saw it and I just kind of ignored it because ultimately all that matters is how George writes the books. That's really all that matters. Because this show is not living up to how good those books are. That's all I'll say.
But I mean, that's true of most movies to books.
I don't know. I feel like for instance, like Jessica Jones, I feel like is a pretty solid adaptation of some source material. Like, I wouldn't say that one's better or worse, but like they're kind of on even-ish footing. But when you're talking about a series of books that are so deep and rich and just awesomely written, and then you have a show that is like super popular and everything, but it really just doesn't even hold a candle to the books. And I will take that to my grave. And a lot of people probably disagree with me and say, "Oh, you're just a book purist," blah blah blah. But just the character work in those books really is just second to none. And the show just can't replicate the character work, and that's what it comes down to. Because in the books, it's POV perspectives, and everything is happening inside these characters' heads, and it's how they're viewing the world. And at the end of the day, when you read the books, you realize, like, I really read like 10 books in one because I got like stories for all of these different characters because each character is a different POV. Like every chapter is a different character's POV. So yeah, the character work in A Song of Ice and Fire, the book series, is unparalleled. It really is. Thank you. And I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but
we don't have to talk about this. We can move on, but like I that's just how I feel.
okay.
As all my friends know, as I've constantly reminded them, that's how I feel about that. But let's see.
On that note, so there's some Wonder Woman.
Well, speaking of pictures,
there's a.
do you really want to talk about the Wonder Woman set photo or promo photo that was released?
Well, there was a cool little promo photo that was released, you know.
Yeah.
And then what I thought was a little bit cooler or more interesting.
Oh yeah.
There was some pre-production photos of the George Miller Wonder Woman that will
from
never,
the aborted Justice League movie
that
that
we'll
he was
never
going to
see.
direct.
Not-
Yeah.
Nothing dramatic or amazing, but interesting that they both kind of came out around the same time.
Yeah. No, you know what the coolest thing I thought of, or the coolest thing that I took away from that was the fact that I saw the lady that was George Miller's Wonder Woman, and I was like, hey, that girl's in Fury Road. She was the badass motorcycle chick. You remember? She's like the sniper.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah. She was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that's interesting.
it was interesting. It's interesting that it's getting made.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, I'm kind of interested because I hear that the first movie is going to be like a period piece, which I that makes me more interested. Like when they said Captain America in World War II, the first one, that got me excited, like pretty excited before the movie came out. And that's a movie that's really grown on me a lot. Like when I first saw it, I wasn't necessarily like super like jazzed with it, but every time I've watched it since, like I've liked it more. And I think it's really smart to do something like that with a character like Wonder Woman, but we'll see how it goes.
We shall see how it goes. Speaking of Captain America, there was a little Civil War trailer dropped today also.
Oh, yes, and I haven't seen that yet.
It looks
You want to
it looks like a lot.
It looks like a what?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in that trailer.
Well, hey, I tell you what, through the beauty of editing, I'm going to go watch that trailer and come right back, and then we'll talk about it. All right, I'm done.
Did you finish?
I did. I came to completion.
I figured you had come to completion.
Wow, man. I was pretty curious how they were going to handle the plot in this one, and it's kind of cool. It's cool that they're like making the Winter Soldier such a prominent character. Like you would think that, considering the last Captain America movie, that like, yeah, of course the Winter Soldier is gonna like play a prominent role, but then you get the word that like they're doing Civil War, so it's like, well, okay, well, like what it seems like they may have like found an interesting way to meld those two storylines together.
I mean, it looks really good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it looks real good.
It looks way better than the last Avengers movie.
Yeah.
And I really feel like it's a new Avengers movie. It's not a Captain America movie. It's an Avengers movie.
Well, you know what? I would have thought that when I saw the cast list and everything, but with how much they seem to focus on Bucky, I kind of do feel like it is a Captain America movie. That it's going to feature a lot of Avengers, but it is a Captain America movie.
I mean, yes. I mean, it's a Cap centric. It's like an X-Men movie. They're all Wolverine movies.
Right.
It's a Cap centric Avenger movie.
Dude, how badass was it seeing the friggin' Black Panther?
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh my, I'm so stoked for that. I cannot wait for that movie. I love me some T'Challa.
And that was not my feeling when the last Avengers movie. I was like, meh, you know.
Yeah.
It didn't. None of the trailers were like, oh, I need to go see that movie.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I want to see that because it's the next Avengers movie, but
Yeah.
nothing screamed, I have to go see that.
Right.
That trailer, I'm like, for Civil War, I'm like,
Oh hell yeah.
oh hell yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I will be there front and center. That excites me. That excites me immensely.
Put your pants back on.
All right. Hold on. All right. Cool. We're good. All right.
I know you wanted to talk about some Dark Knight 3 writing controversies.
Oh yeah. I mean, did you see any of that with the whole? I think it's interesting that I guess what came to light this week was that apparently the writing credit of I guess going into the Dark Knight 3, like I definitely thought Frank Miller was writing it, and I thought Brian Azzarello was helping him with some of the writing chores. But after this,
like in order to write better.
what, you don't like Frank Miller?
No, I love me some Frank Miller, but
Well, why are you hating then?
well, I mean, some of his recent writing has gone off the rails. You know.
No, I don't know, but no. Here's the thing. I know like Frank Miller's had some or apparently he's had some health issues or whatever.
Right.
But so I thought like Brian Azzarello was kind of just helping him come on to do some of the heavy lifting with the scripting or whatever. But the story and the plot was kind of Frank's. That's kind of what I assumed going into this, but. I guess after this last week, it seems like Frank has been kind of distancing himself from the actual majority of the writing of this project, which it's a little crazy because I think the first issue is going to be shipping pretty soon if it hasn't already. And I think comic store owners are like, wait a minute, I thought this was a Frank Miller joint. Now you're telling me like basically Brian Azzarello wrote it? So it's caused some controversy this last week. Like Frank Miller's saying how he wants to how the next Dark Knight story is going to be all him. Like it's a very weird thing.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to actually say about this? Because like, did you even see the story?
I'm looking at the story right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like he's directing Brian, but Brian is kind of doing his own shit.
Right.
And he's giving suggestions and whatever. So it'll be interesting to see how the series is. I thought Dark Knight 2 was fun, but off the rails by comparison to the first Dark Knight.
Well, that's kind of the popular opinion. I never actually read Dark Knight 2. I heard things about it, and I
Dark Knight away.
1? Oh yeah. Oh, I love Dark Knight 1.
I know you have some holes in your lineup, so I wasn't sure where.
No, there are holes, but a lot of them are filled. A lot of that ground is filled. So don't you worry, JC.
You get a lot of your holes filled, is what you're trying to tell me?
Something along those lines. Anyways, all right. I know you wanted to talk about something too, which I really know nothing or really care about at all, which is the.
I know nothing about it either, other than it's rumored to be happening.
What do you speak of?
That Netflix is rebooting Lost in Space. Now,
my memory of Lost in Space is a really, really bad rebooted movie. But I do know of the classic television show that was way before my time, but it was considered classic sci-fi, and it's pretty hokey when you go
Yeah.
back and watch it nowadays. But at this, Netflix has had a really good track record, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. If it's hokey garbage or if it comes out to be something really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I'm also too young to kind of have been invested in that original property back in the day. And yeah, I don't even remember if I watched the reboot movie or whatever from the '90s, but I just know that yeah, actually, what you're saying. If like it doesn't matter what the property is, like if Netflix is riding high right now and they're putting out a lot of quality stuff, and at the very least if they put out a good like entertaining like space sci-fi show,
I'm all about it.
totally, I'll be there. Like if they can put out something that's like on par with like Firefly or Battlestar, like I'm there totally. Like I don't need to have seen the original stuff or even really care about the original. Like if they just come up with a good concept and execute it well, I'll be there.
Could they reboot Firefly?
Oh, that'd be great. I don't know. Like I feel like the time is like so much time has passed now. Like I don't even know how I would want to continue that universe. Like they're doing it a little bit here and there with comics, but I don't know if they like if I want them to do another movie or do like a limited series or something. But yeah, it would be great to catch up with the Firefly crew.
That would be fun.
That would make me happy. But I don't know how I would want to see that happen.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Pretty sure Joss Whedon is over it, so
we'll see.
Yeah, we will. We will. All right. So since it is 2:30 in the morning, JC, I figure we probably should cut the show at some point. But there was one thing that I definitely wanted to get to this show on our first episode, and that was a little book that came out either last week. I think it came out last week. I got my comics box yesterday, and I do the monthly shipping from DCBS, so I get my books kind of infrequently, but I get them all at once. And I got there was a book in there from my buddy Sam that a lot of people know from my old show, The Meltcast. Sam has gone on to be a very prolific writer at Image and more on the mainstream level. Big writer for Marvel. He's doing a lot of Marvel work, and but he put out an Image series that appeared this last week. I think it was last week. Called Citizen Jack, and I read the first issue tonight, and I think you did too.
I did read the first issue tonight, and what'd you think?
Well, I thought I am intrigued by like. Here's the thing. First of all, I gotta be upfront and honest about this. I heard what the concept of the book was, and I'm not a very like political guy. Like I don't really like to engage in the whole aspect of politics and what it's become in this country, and I won't go into that. But like if you say it's a comic about politics, like I'm pretty much staying away. But in this case, of course, like anything by Sam, I'm going to give a try. And I also heard him on an interview with Word Balloon where he was talking about the concept behind the book, and he definitely sold me more on trying the book out too, just from that interview. I mean, I was going to try it anyways, but
Well,
So
I'm curious to see where it goes from the first issue because it's interesting. And I don't know if you got this vibe. I don't know if you've read this book that I'm going to reference now, but for some reason it gave me a little bit of a Transmet vibe.
yeah, there's a hole.
There's a whole,
Yeah, I haven't read Transmit.
but yeah, just something about definitely like a political thing, but it seems very counterculture political show. I mean,
Well, yeah, and the thing, if you would allow me to finish, JC, how dare you interrupt me? I was gonna say that in the interview he was saying that this book is meant to be consumed by people from either affiliation, left or right. It doesn't really matter how you lean politically. He wants it to be enjoyed by everyone, and I think that's like pretty facilitated from what I've read, just from how he composes like the political landscape in the first issue. I mean, I never got the sense that I never really got the sense that we were living in like today's America. It's almost like a fantasy. Like it's a real world amalgamation of America, but it also is like cast in a fantasy light of you have like parties that aren't Democrats and Republicans. You have like a freedom and like a patriot party.
Right.
So he's not trying to make this like a real world analog by any means.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's not a real world analog, but it does have a tongue, a
tongue in cheek, like kind of humor bent
poke at the real world, which is to say,
for sure,
this ridiculous person probably could get elected president because we have some ridiculous characters who run for president,
right?
And the American, and we live in this American pop culture reality show thing where a viral video can make you famous, and so it's
Yeah, and to back up a minute, we should probably talk about the plot a little bit, just for people that haven't heard of this book, because it is an Image book. It's a new book that just came out. Basically, the plot is centered around a character named Jack. Is it Northwood or North? Is it Northwood?
Northworthy, I think.
Oh, Northworthy. Yeah. And he's a guy from Minnesota who is a former mayor of this Minnesota town who sells snowblowers, and he seems to be a little bit touched, if you know what I mean.
Touched by the devil.
Yeah, but a little touched in the head. He's a little crazy. He's a little cray-cray.
Well, he reminds me of some people that I know.
Oh yeah. Well, I love it.
I don't know if you've ever been to the country, but he reminds me of some people I know from the country.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? Haven't been to the country? I'm from the country, son. Shoot.
But it also, it's he's the first person to be impeached as mayor as well, and he decides to run for president.
Right. Because the devil told him to. Because the devil told him to. Like literally, like the devil is telling him to go run for president, and this is a guy who is basically failing at selling snowblowers in a Minnesota town that's covered in snow. So This is the kind of character that we're introduced to, and basically the devil. And I don't know how he got to this point. I think it's going to be revealed in future issues, obviously, that when we delve into a little more of his backstory. But I don't know how he got hooked up with the devil, but the devil is definitely influencing him and causing him to want to run for president, and keeps whispering in his ear about how he can win the presidency. And right from the start, you think like there's no way, because this guy is just completely incompetent. But the devil tells him to do that, and something happens where he gets caught on video, and it kind of goes viral. And these news people, the news or the media picks up on the story, and they treat it as a joke, but it kind of has the unintended effect of like bringing him notoriety, and considering some of the candidates that have been offered, I guess so far, the American public basically like they're more ready to like take this kind of clownish guy as a more like serious candidate than like what they have available to them. And he actually like at the end of the first issue, let's just say he has like a chunk of the electorate vote, like a very small chunk at the end of the first issue, but he actually like shows up in the polls as a candidate that has like a percentage of the populace like supporting him.
Yeah, it's an interesting take on America.
Yeah, definitely.
Commentary on America, really.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see where it goes, and I also love that old Sam made her boy Jack a former hockey player, so I appreciate that very much.
All right.
Speaking of which, tomorrow, or I should say today, later today, we have our final game of the season where we're trying to go 1-9 on the season.
Are we trying to go 1-9 or 2-9? Or 2-8 rather?
Oh yeah, we're trying to go 2-8. Yeah. It's late, people.
What he's trying to say is he may or may not be thrown in the game. He is the goalie.
All right, allow me to summarize this season to our audience, our probably a very small audience at this point, but our audience, whoever's listening. So 10-game season. We won the championship last season. JC plays defense. I play goalie. And we started the season off by losing the first 8 games. Yeah, that's right. The first 8 games after winning the championship. We're out here in LA.
We're like the reverse Warriors.
No. We're out here in LA, and like we've seen this precedent set by LA teams because the Kings basically did this like several years where they would win the championship and then not make the playoffs and then win the championship again. That's what I'm hoping for next season, by the way. But it was interesting because we
won last week though.
No, we lost badly all season until last week where we just annihilated the team we played and mercied them. So it's been a very strange season.
Yes, we had a few people out with injuries and babies.
Yeah, we had a few season-ending injuries. We had a couple babies be born. So. But we've had kind of a patchwork team this year. So, yeah.
If the netminder had been able to stop the
puck. Yeah. Well, hey, if I would have blocked every shot that you guys allowed, yeah, we would have probably won at least half of our games. And I say half because I'm pretty sure we didn't score in half of our games.
Pretty sure I stopped stopped most of them. So,
yeah, it's been It's been a bad season, but anyways, it's almost over mercifully. But yeah, I would definitely recommend reading, trying out Citizen Jack. It's definitely a unorthodox look at politics, and I am intrigued by the first issue. That's what I wanted to say about that.
I am also intrigued.
Oh, and I also just want to say the artist who I want to give credit to, Tommy Patterson. Apparently, he actually drew the Dynamite Game of Thrones series that for a lot of issues, and I never read that because I really didn't want to read a comic adaptation of Game of Thrones. But apparently, like he's utilizing a very different style, and this is like a very it kind of feels like Frank Quietly a little bit, and I definitely like it. I mean, do you agree with that? It kind of has a Frank Quietly vibe.
Yeah, I mean I can see that. I definitely liked it. I had never, I haven't read any of his Game of Thrones stuff, but
Yeah.
I dug it.
Yeah, I think the art's great. So yeah, I would definitely check out this book. Citizen Jack. Should be able to pick up the first issue now.
All right, boys and girls.
Yeah, got it. It's late. 2:44.
I mean,
Wow.
I see 2:45. You know,
No. Yeah. Please,
I got
God, I hope we're not. I hope we're not this off tomorrow or
Hold on.
tonight, or I hope we're not this off next week too. Thank you for sticking with us. If you have stuck with us, we'll try to do a better job next time. It's our first episode. We're trying to get this thing off the ground and get it going. So I hope you enjoyed a little bit of comic talk on the comic stew. And until next time, this is Aaron.
This is JC.
And we're signing off. Have a great
Whatever time for you.
yeah, whatever time it is for you. 2:45 now for me.
All right, then.